What is consulting? Now, I see tons of students who come into college and they aren't even aware of the fact that there is a whole set of jobs out there around this concept of consulting. And so it's very common that a lot of people don't even know what it is and they're just trying to define it. So let's do that really quickly. And in future videos, I'll talk a little bit more about the lifestyle of consulting, the types of consulting, all those things, and also some of the negatives and drawbacks of it. You know, there are pros, but there are cons, just like any job. So it's important to understand that after I graduated from undergrad, I did go work for a big consulting company, and I worked for them for about nine or so years. And I think it's important to also state that a large percentage of our students, while they do go into consulting, almost 50% of students are looking to not do consulting. And hopefully that's because they've really looked at it and said, this is just not something that I'm interested in. So it's just a type of job. It's not the job. It's not the job that everybody should do. It has its pros and cons. So essentially what consulting is, it's a business that will come in and give advice or provide some bit of expertise in an area of such as strategy or organizational, things like that, people and, the way your org is structured, or even technology and IT. So typically consulting companies are teams of people. Consulting is not just some heavenly rock star individual that comes in, although you will see there are independent consultants who maybe specialize in a certain technology or an industry or something like that, so that can happen. But commonly, big consulting companies or small consulting companies bring in teams of people. And so what are they doing, right? They can either be solving a problem for an organization, or maybe there's a potential idea, there's a potential opportunity that they can help provide insight and expertise to help see that thing come, to fruition. So a good portion of the job as a consultant is first just coming in and saying, okay, what are we trying to solve here? An opportunity or a problem. You don't just immediately jump to solutions. You ask a lot of questions, and then you go and explore all of the resources that you have. And I'm not talking just Google, right? They're talking about like knowledge management systems, experts in their field, all types of resources to learn more about that area of the problem. And then they work with the clients, they work with their team, they work with their own experience, and they really kind of come up with a solution or some kind of design, again, around strategy or organizational structures or technology, whatever it may be. But that's essentially what you do, is you're coming in to solve some problem, and typically it's a temporary situation where you come in and then you leave. Now, some consulting companies can be hired long-term or for a continual basis. But a lot of times consultants are just brought in to solve some temporary thing and then they leave. So why would a company hire a consulting company? I think it's important to understand that consultants aren't hired because they're smarter than an organization's people, and it's not because that organization can't solve the problem. It's some first example is why you would hire is that because a consulting company has experience in one area. Some companies only consult in the oil and gas industry, so they're very experienced in it and they know a lot about it. They have a lot of expertise. But also consulting companies bring frameworks that are based on best practices. So when they're trying to figure out how to solve something, they may already have a methodology of how they do that, and that's something the organization that's hiring them doesn't have. So they bring expertise, experience, and frameworks of best practices to help solve these problems, and they can do that. It allows the organization to solve the problem faster because they already have the experience. The other thing is that it allows the company that's hiring this consulting company, it allows them to focus on their core business. So if you are a company that makes medical devices and you want to build some kind of online business where you can sell your products to hospitals, well, you are comprised of people who make medical devices and you have your own IT people, but you could probably hire a consulting company to come in while you focus on what you're doing, and they could build your website out and help you figure out how to maintain this website and to maintain the sales organization, and then they could come in and then train you and then they leave. And that is faster in some ways than you hiring a bunch of web developers and trying to figure it all out yourself. So it just allows you to stay focused on what you're doing, and you bring these people in to kind of solve something and then they leave. And the other benefit of hiring consulting companies is that they're temporary. So, hiring a full-time employee requires, putting out jobs, postings, and bringing people in and getting them rolled onto the retirement plan and the 401, the HR and all that stuff. Consultants are, hey, this person's coming in, they have a contract, they do their job, and then you let them go. And so that's a nice, easy way to kind of like when you need to do something quickly and bring in 100 people, consultants are really great for that because you can bring in 100 people, do what they got to do, and then they leave, right? So I'll do some more future videos on the types of consulting, the lifestyle, the cons, the pros, all again, just because I did consulting in my life doesn't mean that I think consulting is the thing everybody should do. I think now at this point in my life, like going back to a consulting company is something I wouldn't want to do. So I hope that explains, again, what consulting is, why people do it, what it's really doing, and what are the benefits of why people hire consulting companies to come and solve these problems. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comment section below, and thank you very much for watching.